recent wedding took place between Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco, and while the rest of the world was busy swooning over the romance and glamour, fans with keen eyes noticed something unexpected that eventually turned into a full-blown debate on the internet. Something that began as a charming glimpse behind the scenes of her big day quickly became the topic of conversation on social media for reasons that nobody could have predicted. Be sure to click that button right now if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, because you won't want to miss out on the next part of the story. An intimate video from the pop star's wedding preparations was shared with her fans, and it seemed like the ideal opportunity to give them a glimpse behind the scenes of her wedding activities. The entirety of the event was being filmed by her best friend and one of the most famous names in the music industry, Taylor Swift. In the video, Selena can be seen sitting in front of a mirror looking absolutely radiant while other people are carefully adjusting the surveillance. Before fans began rewinding and zooming in on the footage, everything appeared to be in perfect condition. A device that appeared to be a disposable electronic cigarette was observed in her hand at that very moment. Almost immediately after Selena became aware that Taylor was filming her, she made a hasty attempt to conceal the device. The internet, on the other hand, never fails to find something, and it was already too late. A few minutes after the video was uploaded, the footage had been captured, and fans were immediately analyzing each and every frame of the video. Almost immediately, social media became extremely popular. People weighed in from every conceivable angle, turning the comment section into a battleground for opinions when they contributed their thoughts. There were some fans who thought the entire situation was absolutely hilarious, and they enjoyed watching this unfiltered moment from a celebrity wedding. Others found themselves in a state of genuine shock and were unable to believe what they were witnessing. The responses ranged from positive to negative and everything in between, from supportive to critical. It was written by one individual that she attempted to cover it, but the timing was not right. An additional commenter referred to the entire situation as completely insane, using language that suggested they were unable to comprehend the idea of witnessing something like this on the day of someone's wedding. The criticism became quite harsh in certain quarters, with one individual stating unequivocally that it could be considered revolting that this occurred on the day of her wedding of all days. On the other hand, there was the opposing viewpoint about the conversation. A large number of Selena's supporters came to her defense and seemed to genuinely enjoy this genuine moment. This sentiment was perfectly captured by a comment that stated that the person was genuinely happy to see a beautiful bride who appeared to be relaxed and comfortable enough to be herself, the electronic cigarette, along with everything else. It was argued by the supporters that depicting celebrities in these genuine moments makes them more approachable and approachable to the general public. In addition, the discussion regarding the kind of electronic cigarette that Selena was using became more heated. People started making assumptions about the brands and types, but nobody was able to identify it with absolute certainty based on the video presentation. The fact that this was not the first time Selena had been seen in a situation like this was something that became abundantly clear in a short amount of time. Fans started retrieving old photographs and videos, putting together timelines and compilations of other instances in which she had been seen using devices that were comparable to those she had used. The conversation was deeper and more complex as a result of this revelation. Having the knowledge that this was not a one-time occurrence made it less shocking for some individuals. They contended that if this is merely a component of her way of life, then the fact that it was captured on camera while she was making preparations for her wedding shouldn't come as a surprise at all. On the other hand, there were those who held a different opinion, arguing that the wedding day ought to have been an exception, regardless of whether or not it is a habit. The entire incident brings up some fascinating questions regarding the privacy of celebrities and the intense scrutiny that comes with sharing personal moments online. When Selena made the decision to post this video herself, she gave her fans the opportunity to watch what was supposed to be an extremely private and personal moment. The analysis, however, comes along with that access, and in this day and age of social media, each and every frame is scrutinized with the forensic precision of a forensic expert. Taylor Swift's participation in the narrative brings an additional facet to the narrative. Due to the fact that she was the one filming, she accidentally captured this moment that would later become particularly contentious. Fans speculated as to whether or not Taylor was aware of what Selena was holding, or whether or not she was aware that it would become such a significant issue. Several individuals brought up the fact that true friends captured not only the perfect, but also the genuine moments that occurred. And it's possible that Taylor was acting in precisely that manner. Additionally, the discussion regarding electronic cigarettes and the prevalence of these cigarettes in celebrity culture became more heated as people began to share their own observations about how prevalent these devices have become at events, parties, and even weddings. It became clear that people were interested in hearing about it. There were those who argued that because they have become so commonplace, it is no longer necessary to make a big deal about seeing one. On the other hand, there are those who maintain that certain moments and occasions, regardless of how common they are, call for different levels of behavior. The timing of this situation is definitely something that makes it particularly interesting. Traditionally, wedding days are regarded as these flawlessly perfect occasions in which everything is meticulously curated and under control. The concept of a bride holding an electronic cigarette while getting her veil adjusted is a radical departure from the conventional image, and people have strong opinions regarding whether or not this presents a welcome change or whether it is inappropriate. Also contributing their thoughts was the fashion and beauty community. When I was photographed with an electronic cigarette, some people pointed out how ironic it was that I had spent hours applying makeup, styling my hair, and finding the perfect dress. It was argued by some that true beauty is about being at ease in one's own skin and engaging in activities that bring about feelings of relaxation, particularly on days that can be extremely stressful. Fans of Selena, who refer to themselves as Selenate, have for the most part come together to defend her. They express their support by flooding the comments section with messages arguing that she is free to do whatever she wants on the day of her own wedding. They retaliated against those who were critical of them by pointing out that it is inappropriate to pass judgment on the personal decisions of another person, particularly during such a private moment. In a short amount of time, the fan base rallied together to counteract the negative comments with positive ones. A portion of the conversation was also devoted to the psychological aspect of nerves on the day of the wedding. A number of individuals have expressed their opinion that weddings are extremely stressful events. Therefore, it is completely understandable that someone might require something to assist them in relaxing and making it through the day. They argued that the entire point was missed by concentrating on this particular aspect rather than celebrating the love and happiness that was associated with the occasion. Humor was used by some fans as a means of diverting attention away from the controversy. This was an entirely different approach. Throughout certain regions of the internet, jokes were made, memes began to spread, and the situation took on a more humorous tone throughout the entirety of the internet. This group appeared to believe that the entire debate was exaggerated, and they would rather laugh about it than take a stance in a serious argument between two opposing viewpoints. On multiple occasions, the larger discussion concerning authenticity in the culture of celebrities was brought up. In an era in which so many famous people present carefully filtered versions of their lives, witnessing an unguarded moment such as this struck a chord with me. Whether people had a favorable or unfavorable impression of it, almost everyone agreed that it had a genuine and unscripted quality, which is becoming increasingly uncommon in content produced by celebrities. And there were even some wedding planners and industry insiders who chimed in and shared that it is actually quite common for brides and grooms to have a variety of strategies for coping with stress on their big day. They emphasized that what works for one person might not work for another, and that there is no one strategy that is guaranteed to be effective in managing anxiety on the day of the wedding. The medical community was also comprised of individuals who expressed their opinions, with some individuals bringing up health concerns and others arguing that it is the individual's choice to determine what they do with their own body. People on both sides of the argument cited studies and statistics to back up their respective positions, which caused this particular aspect of the debate to become particularly heated. The fact that a single brief moment that lasted only a few seconds within a longer video managed to generate such extensive discussion is a concept that is absolutely fascinating. It is the testament to the intensity with which people watch and analyze content pertaining to celebrities, searching for any particular detail that may appear out of place or noteworthy. The fact that Selena made an effort to conceal it after she became aware of the camera didn't do anything but pique people's interest. It was almost as if the wedding itself, which ought to have been the primary focus of the narrative, was lost in all of the discussion about this one particular aspect. The relationship between Benny Blanco and Selena, the ceremony, the guest list, and all of the other beautiful moments that occurred throughout the day were put on hold in order to continue the discussion about what she was holding while she was getting ready. Some critics of culture use this event as a springboard to discuss the ways in which society regulates the behavior of women, particularly on the day of their weddings. They contended that the intense scrutiny that Selena was subjected to for this particular moment is a reflection of broader expectations regarding how brides should look and behave, and that any deviation from that ideal is subject to criticism. The world of advertising and marketing also took notice of the situation. There was an increase in the number of online searches and conversations pertaining to brands that produce products that are comparable. The fact that this viral moment created massive visibility for an entire product category demonstrates how celebrity moments can have an effect on the awareness and interest of consumers, regardless of whether or not this was the intention. The story continued to spread, and it eventually reached people who were not just Selena's fans or those who work in the entertainment industry. The news was picked up by mainstream media. These think pieces were written by lifestyle publications, and all of a sudden, this moment on the wedding day had turned into a full-scale cultural conversation that touched on a variety of topics, ranging from the management of public image to the management of personal freedom. You should make sure that you are subscribed to this channel because celebrity stories like this one are constantly developing, and you will want to stay up to date on all of the most recent developments and reactions as they occur.